Hello class and welcome to this Final Fantasy IV walkthrough right here on Video Games 101 by way of Let's Play with Brigands. I'm your instructor, Professor Brigands, and this is obviously the original SNES version of Final Fantasy IV, released as 2 for the SNES, marking the debut of the series in North America on that system. And while this walkthrough is designed to take you through that specific version of the game, it can largely be applied to any version you're playing, with just a couple tiny differences here and there, which we'll point out now and again. Fluff is going to talk about the many different versions later. He's got a ton of facts to share with us today on this absolute classic, but ever since I played the original Final Fantasy on the NES in the early 90s, I've been a huge fan of RPGs, with this being my favorite series of the genre. Couldn't wait to get my hands on this for the SNES once we got that system in my house. And this game did not disappoint in the least. One of the all-time greats, but this is a long game, making this a long class, so there'll be plenty of time to talk about all that and how fantastic this is. In terms of difficulty, Final Fantasy IV is your standard RPG in the sense of you get out what you put in. Yes, I'm referring to grinding, but that being said, you don't need to do a ton of grinding in this game. As you'll see, just stopping off and taking the opportunity to grind in a few key spots throughout the game, which we'll point out, definitely helps to keep it from being a grind, so you can mostly focus on the story and progression of the game, one of the many great things about this game. It's also relatively linear in terms of the progression. All this together, overall I'm going to give Final Fantasy IV on the difficulty scale of 1 to 10, a 5 out of 10. On the frustration scale, this equates to throwing your controller, most likely in some of the later boss battles of the game, but that's precisely why we have a boss expert on staff in Scary Gary to teach us the strategies for taking down every single boss in this game. Blaze is covering some of the items, some of the enemies, characters, spells. He's all over the place for this one, and as I mentioned, Fluff has a number of interesting facts to share about this game. He'll share some hacks to seriously help you out if you're so inclined, but again, yes, a very long game. I'm incredibly excited for this one, so let's run the intro and get into this Final Fantasy IV walkthrough right here on Video Games 101. Alright, let's begin a new game here in Final Fantasy IV. One of my favorite intros of the Final Fantasy series. Top 3, might be top 2, actually, behind Final Fantasy VII. Love the bombing job at the top, but just something about commanding the most powerful nation of the world's most powerful army in the Red Wings. And a fantastic piece of music by Uematsu to start things off as we get some context. Captain Cecil, we are about to arrive, right on schedule. And then why are we robbing crystals from innocent people? As the crew debates amongst themselves the ethics of what our orders are here. As I guess we flash back to when we recently stole/obtained the Crystal of Water from the people of Mysidia. Just putting anyone who would defy us down. Black Wizard's got the worst of it right there. Not sure the White Wizard was defying us right there, but there he goes. Crew was all aboard with this decision back then. I'm not sure what changed. I guess maybe on the flight back, suddenly thinking, hey, are we the baddies? Always that realization just smacks you in the face. If there's any Mitchell and Webb fans out there, we don't really have an answer for the Elder right there as to why we're pursuing the crystals so eagerly. Don't ask me challenging questions which make me question my morality. Take pride in being members of the Red Wings. There you go. I can't not think of the hockey team when I see that. Can't stand doing this anymore, Captain. Possessing the crystal is an essential factor for our prosperity. We are the Red Wings. The Air Force of the Kingdom Baron. One of the best darn hockey teams in the late 90s in the NHL. I love the context, though. Very clear. We're establishing everything early on here. We're the Red Wings. With the Nation of Baron. And this is all on autopilot, by the way. This first battle here. Short work for Cecil. How'd you get hurt, by the way? Little friendly fire from that firebomb. It's a massive raven. I love the animations of the enemies in this game. It's a step up, as much as I love the animations in the original Final Fantasy, but... Everyone okay after doing nothing, watching me do everything there? Yeah, why are there so many monsters all of a sudden? That's a Squaresoft classic right there. You got Secret of Mana as soon as you pull that sword out. You can check out our Video Games 101 class on that game. But yeah, as soon as the sword comes out, monsters start appearing everywhere. We fly over Agart and land here in Baron to hand over the water crystal to the king, as charged. Gentlemen, Bygan. Is that the crystal? You don't even know what the crystal looks like, but yeah, they were so helpless. What are you trying to say? Bygan, not liking what he's hearing, wants me to say, man, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. The sound of those Mysidian screams. Poor innocent people. Can't show any emotion. This room will be quite important later. I always like this exchange right here. Just one line from Bygan. Your Majesty, I'm afraid Cecil has developed quite a rebellious air. Truly? Well, alright, let's fire him. Let's end his career. Right here on the spot. Bygan clearly has the ear of the king right here. Now, where is it? Here you go. Again, you guys don't even seem to know what it looks like. I feel like I could have just made one out of paper mache. Saved a lot of killing, but... Real crystal? Are you opening an antique store? What are we trying to do, Your Highness? Oh, hold on. Here comes that conscience. Why did we kill those innocent people, Your Majesty? Like we caught them stealing money or something. We know of your discontent. What, Bygan said one word to you. One line. We're dismissed from our post. Man, that's not the auspicious start. We worked so hard to work our way up to that job. As far as we know. We've been demoted to courier. It's quite the demotion. Got our buddy Kain coming in here. Best friend, you might say. Confidant. Well, we got the package. Maybe we can work our way back up to Red Wings Captain just by making a UPS delivery. Kain seems confident that they'll restore our position after this mission. I'm not so sure, as he breaks the fourth wall right there. But you know what? That's a nice segue. Let's take a look at the controls for Final Fantasy IV/2 for the SNES. You can see A does most of the heavy lifting, like talking to Kain right here, as he's sick of our sulking. Understandably so. I mean, what do you expect when you master the Dark Blade, Cecil? You think you're gonna hand out, do some Meals on Wheels or something? What do you think that training was for? If not being kind of an a-hole, if I'm honest. But yeah, speaking of A, we can confirm our choices. We can interact with things like hitting this switch back here. I think it's the least the king can do. Give us some free stuff. It's our severance package right here. You can bring up the menu with X to use items, equip items, take a look at your stats. Now we exit out of things with B generally. And in battle we can pause with start. We can switch between the current sprite, the current character we see on the screen. It's just an aesthetic thing with R. In battle, hold L and R to run away, and just moving around with that D-pad. As we explore more of Baron Castle here, you can talk to those black and white mages for some kind of tutorial there at the start. Here's our lady friend Rosa. Wizards didn't even raise their hands. We can see later. Rosa's a cutie. Always want to see Rosa. She's a good woman. She's good for us. As is our kind of father figure in Sid here. long-running trademark of the Final Fantasy series. Every title seems to have a Cid in it. Who's your favorite Cid, speaking of which, class? Leave a comment. A lot of good options there, obviously. In this case, he's sort of the inventor of the airship. Didn't expect it to be used as a weapon. Alright, so it's not just me. Good to hear that from Cid. He's a good guy as well. Got our, a maid lady here looking after our tiny room. That's a pretty good gig, actually. I'd clean that room. I don't know how much they're paying her, but it's too much. Part of me wants this scene to go on for hours. What happened to His Majesty? He used to be such a cool guy. Never again. We make our decision right here. I like it. Immediate character development. Never again, even if ordered. It's good storytelling, but here's Rosa. We're still kind of sulking. Our tiny little bed. We're not Squall, though. We're not that bad. Speaking of Final Fantasy protagonists, you can tell her what's on your mind. You're not that repressed. I mean, it was a successful mission. You can say that at least, right? Just a dark knight with no courage to disobey His Majesty. Just pouting. Real Cecil, I know, would never whimper like this. So we're heading to Mist tomorrow to deliver a package with Kain. Again, demoted to just a mail carrier at this point. No disrespect to the mail carriers out there watching. This is just, you know, we were in charge of the Red Wings. Not exactly a lateral move, that's all I'm saying. But anyway, great piece of music here, the fanfare. An excellent soundtrack from Uematsu. Fluff will talk about that later. We can always go back to our bed for what it's worth to rest for free, but we're heading out now to fulfill our mission with Kain, delivering the package to the nearby village of Mist. As we drop back into the classic Final Fantasy theme. Very similar to when we crossed over the bridge in the first Final Fantasy. It's a beautiful piece of music. Thus, the Dark Knight Cecil was expelled from his command as a captain of the Red Wings. He was replaced by Steve Yzerman, and they went on to win 3 Stanley Cups in the late 90s and early 2000s. But yes, the next day we went to Mist. A valley enclosed in a deep fog. Airships had been a dream of many people. But not Chris. He just never really got on board. He said, I'm better off on solid ground, but yeah, greed and ambition, they always follow. It's not what Cid had in mind, but through its fleet of airships, Baron became the most powerful nation. Understandably so. How are you going to fight back against an airship? I think if you're the only nation in the world which has that technology, that's going to give you a substantial leg up. Yeah, why are the monsters increasing? They just mating at a unchecked rate? Unprecedented? Did I make things weird? The crystal was shedding its light silently. Almost feels a bit like another class we did on Video Games 101, Illusion of Gaia. Kind of there in the end, saying how the Earth seems so lonely from space as they stood on that comet, but I digress. Again, you can tap X to take a look at your status right here. We can change our formation. We can move Kain to one of the side positions. The 2 and the 5 from the top will automatically be farther back. Those will be back row attackers. You want to put ranged attackers or just your weaker defense party members back there as we get our first save on the books. But let's pop in town before we head out to Mist. There's a lot of free stuff to be stolen from these people. How's he gonna put it, right? Got some cures. One of great dancers, ask at the counter. Are you a bad guy? Well, apparently. As I'm saying, hit the swords there, hit A on those to find yourself a few more freebies. More free stuff outside in the pots. It's a cure right here, and then a couple nice items here in the in-laws' house. This is Rosa's mom right here. Not that we're married, but heard you did an awful thing. Yeah, of course she doesn't think too much of us. That's just kind of built in with the deal. But tent right there, ether right there, and love the little detail of ouch with the fire right there. You can come up here and take in a dance from this lady. Dark Knight, want to see something? Already thinking NHL franchise and Chris Nolan Batman trilogy here at the start. Alright, that was cool. As I awkwardly walk away without saying anything. Not sure what I'm meant to do with that information, but drop down that miniature waterfall there, and there's some hidden loot to be found down here. Just tap A in those spots to grab yourself a couple tents. And then retrace your steps and go back and around through a hidden area in the trees behind this area. It's a little sneaky, the entrance. They have a good time with the many hidden passages and entrances and just little areas if you know where to go. In this case, go to the right through the trees. It's like something out of Star Tropics. Got a heal potion. Got a life potion. A heal potion. And then we can head on outside. And now let's make our way down southwest and grab ourselves a chocobo in this little circle of trees. This little 3x3 grid. There's a carrot hidden somewhere here, right there. The white one will top off your magic. We have no magic abilities right now, so right now that's kind of a waste, but it smells like chocobos here in the back if you use your carrot when they prompt you. Oh, the big chocobo, and we can use this to dump your stuff rather than having to sell it, as your inventory does have a maximum capacity. It's not that big of a deal. Admittedly, I probably end up selling more stuff than I probably should, but anyway. Hit A on one of these yellow chocobos and enjoy the chocobo theme right here. You can go through the river, give him a bit of a bath here. Love this piece of music. You could be having the worst day, and this theme will just put a smile on, well, maybe not the worst day, but really bad things can happen. And that theme's not going to change that, but still, nice piece of music from Uematsu. We'll have Fluff talk about chocobos a little bit later, give us some facts about those cute creatures, but so with the chocobo, we could avoid our random encounters while we were on the back of that creature. Now that we had to abandon it outside, we have our first proper battle here. And I love the animation of the imps. It's the same basic animation from the original Final Fantasy. Just one of those enemies which has withstood the test of time across the Final Fantasy series. Yeah, they don't have much HP. Not a difficult battle. But thankfully they corrected the annoying issue that we had in the first Final Fantasy on the NES, where if you had two party members attacking the same enemy, and one party member kills that enemy, the other party member would attack the dead space where that enemy used to be. Just a waste of a turn. It was ridiculous. Even in 1987 or 1990 terms, when they localized that one, you think they could have fixed that, but anyway, in this game, yes. Our party members are smart enough to recognize that if someone's killed that enemy, hey, let's maybe attack one of the other remaining ones than swinging at nothing. Anyway, so Kain has the ability to jump. Blaze?
It's Blaze's best here in Item Sky. Kain is a Dragoon and a mid-level fighter whose sole ability, aside from fight of course, is to jump, allowing him to leave the screen for a few seconds before coming down to deal out a heavier amount of damage than his normal attack would allow. The trade-off is his jumps take a bit longer than a normal turn, so you might think about casting fast on him later on in the game if you want him to be more of an impact. But yeah, also a bit of a spoiler, Kain is going to come and go throughout the game, so don't bother level grinding for his sake.
Wise words, thank you very much, Blaze. All the items are very obvious out in the open, nothing hidden away in this area, so let's take a quick look at the Briggs notes finally for this Final Fantasy IV walkthrough, the keys to beating this game. Just the one, follow this guide for the most efficient route, all the loot, the boss tips, all that good stuff. We're covering everything, going out of our way to make sure we grab every item you can find in this game, and just follow along, it's going to be a good time. As we're aiming to get our first level up here against some larvae. Don't have to worry too much about strategy at this stage in the game. We don't have any spells, it's just attacking, having Kain do his jumps. Usually the good move with him. It does take a bit longer than a normal turn, but yeah, the trade-off, or the trade-up for damage, it's generally worth it. As we probably run from these larvae here, holding L and R together. We've already seen some larvae. Gonna be running from a number of battles in this game in the interest of both just efficiency and making this a better watch, but also, as I kind of mentioned, you don't need to grind, and I consider the random encounters a big part of grinding in this game, and yeah, I'll just be reserving that for dedicated spots, which we'll show. Just kind of keep the pace going here. Do you still wish to go on? Yes, we gotta deliver this package. Then I must call in Scary Gary for the first time today.
It's Scary Gary's Boss Beaters.
Alright, each of my boss guides features some basic details about the boss, including its weaknesses, HP, the level I recommend Cecil is on before you take them on, and most importantly, the basic strategy for taking them down, typically in order of importance. For our first boss here in Final Fantasy IV, we get that boss trope that Square sure does seem to love in their RPGs, where there's a phase in which you're not supposed to attack the boss. In D-Mist, aka Mist Dragon, in more recent versions of this game's case at least, now this is when they turn to Mist. Without any magic at our command, we don't need to worry about too much strategy, just slash or jump on it when it's in dragon form, then hang back and heal if necessary when it's in Mist form. Simple, take it down.
Thank you, Gary. Be going to him quite a bit throughout the course of this class, as you can imagine. A lot of bosses to contend with here in Final Fantasy IV. You can parry or not during this point while you're waiting. Doing it in time is your prerogative. You can press right to go over to that, but yeah, time passes regardless, courtesy of Square's ATB, their active time battle system. We're putting up a pathetic 24 damage from Cecil at the top. Even at the start of the game, you're like, that's not very much. That ain't a lot of damage. Guess Cecil was not in charge of the Red Wings based on his prowess in battle. His fighting abilities, that was pretty good right there. A crit for 82. There you go. Combined efforts took down the Mist Dragon. And we get our first level up. I guess we started out on 10s. We're on 11 now. And come outside, go to the east, and you'll find the village of Mist. Now we just got to deliver the package. I don't know if we talked to someone in particular, and oh, it automatically opened. Making our job a bit easier. What'd we do? Like a glitter bomb. Just goes everywhere except it's fire and much more deadly. Less embarrassing and annoying and more painful and destructive. Like the fire bombs have little faces. We got duped by the king. And you can see up north here, there's a child with her fallen mother. Mom's dragon fell, so my mom did too. It's like a dragon heart type situation. We killed the dragon, so her mom's dead too. Ooh. Yeah, we didn't know. We were just self-defense? Can a 6-year-old or whatever understand that? Wasn't even that difficult. Maybe not the time to mention that. Yeah, we've changed, Kain. Oh, okay, so that was just some sort of test? Never understood that. Kain seemed like he was all about killing this child a second ago, and now he's like, oh, yeah, right, no, we definitely shouldn't kill her. Good for you, Cecil, you changed. You passed my test. So yeah, we'll figure out how to take on the entire nation of Baron later, but for right now, let's help this child. I don't blame her. We did just admit to killing her mother. So let's maybe not stab her or anything. Oh, that's a neat trick. Okay. So that has a greater impact than just the 100-some damage which it inflicted upon us, as the entire valley just sorta, you know, gets blown up. As we come to on the other side of, I guess, the cave-in, the wreckage, whatever it is. Guess she's alright. No sign of Kain. Have to escape from Baron with this girl. Glad you knew where the exit was, Cecil, because I had no idea. Alright, so now we're heading northeast to the nearest village/town. Just right up here in Kaipo. Little desert oasis town. She must rest. Where's the inn? Here we go. We're on autopilot as we head north here. Money? No, that's okay. You can pay me later. 5,000 gil. Or gold, I forget the currency. You okay? Haven't heard your name yet. I know we've done an awful thing. Can't ask for forgiveness, but let us protect you at the very least. It's all we can do. Yeah, I don't know what you can say after you defeated her mother, essentially, slayed her mother, and admitted to it right in front of her, obviously. Huh? But I know what we can do, and that is protect her, as we said. Finally found you, Cecil. Callers of Mist are too dangerous. Hand her over. Not about to abandon the oath we just swore to protect this child. So normally this officer runs away if you take out his soldiers first. But I always preferred the idea of killing everyone here. You know, no survivors, don't let anyone tell, and, you know, go back to Baron and let the king know that this girl's still alive, that we're still alive. I'm trying to keep a low profile, so I'm role-playing a little bit here, class. Forgive me. We're going to try starting with the officer, even though this is going to be a much more drawn-out and difficult battle as a result. I may get bored midway through and abandon this pursuit, but Fluff, while we're doing this, can you tell us something about the village of Mist?
It's tricky, and you have a very tight window to do it, but if you press X to bring up the menu at just the right time on the overworld, after moving to the right into the village of Mist, you can use a tent and glitch the game into allowing you to use a tent over the square of Mist on the map, thus allowing you to move right and enter the town from the right side, where you can purchase advanced equipment well before you should be able to. Ultimately allowing you to skip Mist altogether, the slide glitch allows you to keep Kain in the party, but you miss out on adding Rydia, and it opens the game up to subsequent glitches down the line. The ability to bring up the menu while moving was removed for subsequent versions of the game to avoid this.
Thank you, Fluff. Anyone do that trick, by the way? Back in the day, break the game? Like that? Yeah, this is just kind of a sad, pathetic fight at this point. Might have to bust into our cures, but just very sad for all the patrons here at the bar. Probably just have gone back to their drinks at this point. Got excited at the top at the prospect of a fight. It's just like watching a couple guys fight who don't really know how to fight, just kind of slapping each other, grabbing on, and no actual punches are being thrown in this battle. A lot of 8s and 13s being exchanged. The music's a little too epic for what's happening right now. We can only interpret it as ironically at this point now. He's got to be close. There we go. Alright. Not sure what that guy was trying to do. Yeah, each of these guys goes down with one hit, have less defense as well, and they're up front. No survivors. So now the king will just think, well, hopefully he'll think we killed him, because that's exactly what happened. But yeah, make him think twice about coming after us again. Plus we got a lot of experience for taking down the captain. Closest thing we'll be doing to grinding for a little while, but I know you can't forgive us, but there you go. We did protect her. So apologies up front. I always pronounce this, we always pronounce this around the Video Games 101 offices as Rydia. So I apologize if it sounds like nails on a chalkboard and you're like, it's Rydia or whatever you want to pronounce it. But Blaze, how about her?
Rydia will eventually be a powerful caller and magic user later on in the game. Right now, she's a bit of a liability, not having any abilities outside of being able to summon a Chocobo once at her current MP. Not the worst idea to move her to the back row in an effort to keep her alive and level up to learn some spells, riding Cecil's coattails while he deals the damage. Also make sure to use her weapon, the nondescript rod, to cast Magic Arrow from that back row to do a lot more damage than you can expect if you just have her actually smack dudes with that weapon. You just go into the item section, go up to get to that weapon, and use it to make use of that effect.
Thank you, Blaze. And Small World, running into Rosa here, who came out looking for us. Very sweet of her. Not sure how she got around the cave-in, or maybe she was part of the cave-in, and that's why she's laid up right now, but she needs the sand ruby, so we need to journey to that cave in order to cure her. So you can see right now, as Blaze mentioned, she's got nothing except Chocobo. Just the one time for that 7 MP before resting again. Comes armed with the rod there, which we will be using as recommended. And this guy's selling a rod right here. We don't need any of that stuff though. We'll be finding an upgrade for our sword before too long. Here's naming way in here. We can change the name of everyone in the party. Up to 6 characters. And I would think to change all the names to Video Games 101 staff members and all that, but there's just too many characters in this game. They come and go. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't, so it's just too many characters, and I think we would, we'd probably end up with a butter cake at some point, or some kind of abbreviation for butter cake. I'm not sure. Probably just have to get rid of all the vowels, then you could maybe squeeze it in, but your dance is kind of useless if you don't have access to a body of water right there. She's like, can we do my audition by the pool? No, we're on Broadway. What are you talking about? I'm not going to bring in a tank of water just so you can do your dance. All right, so let's move her to the back row as Blaze recommended, so she takes less damage there. And now we'll head to the northeast. Again, they do a forward, back, forward, forward kind of formation. And then you can change rows by pressing left right here on the battle menu when you have your choice. Pushing to the right is your kind of guard command, but you have the change rows command, so then Rydia would be in the front and Cecil would be in the back, and yeah, the same would be for everyone in the front and everyone in the back, so pretty straightforward. But heading on up here into the Watery Pass south side. Some pikes here. A lot of the elemental damage makes sense in this game. Trying to show off some of these enemies, but again, very quickly I'm sure I'll be running from most of these battles. But it's still early days. Let's use the rod as mentioned. Yeah, note her 30 HP right now. It's just ridiculous. I mean, she is level 1 compared to our level 11. She needs some levels quite urgently, and she'll get them quite quickly as well. That is the one nice thing about being at level 1. You can only go up, right? This should get her at least 1 right here at the top. She got Ice 1. She got Cure 1, so she went up 2 levels right there. And again, everything's pretty straightforward here. All the items in clear view. Zombies, the undead, generally weak against flame elemental. So we don't have fire right now. I know you're sensitive about the whole fire thing, Rydia, but it would work very well against these zombies. It's just squaresoft elemental weaknesses 101 right there. Undead famously weak against flame attacks. To target all the enemies, if the spell allows for it, then you just keep pushing to the left or right, and it'll eventually select everyone, give you that option. It just spreads out the damage, which it would do. It doesn't do as concentrated a shot, so you have to keep that in mind. Sometimes you want to prioritize a stronger enemy, more dangerous enemy, and then just, rather than spreading out the damage and you have multiple enemies on the field, so we'll talk about that in certain situations. Anyway, as we're working our way through the waterway here, let's bring in Fluff now that we're getting some levels up to cover the different stats which are going up as we level up and what each one represents here in Final Fantasy IV.
Here's a quick rundown on the stats here in Final Fantasy IV, plus their translated names for newer versions. I think your level, hit points, and magic points are all pretty self-explanatory for anyone who has ever played or even heard of an RPG before. But here's a tip: higher is better in all those categories. Your EXP are your total experience points. More importantly is the number you need to accumulate for your next level, which you can always find in the status area for any character. Whenever you level up, generally speaking, all the following stats will improve. This begins with strength, which determines the physical attack power of your character. The higher this number is, the more damage they'll do with their attacks and similar abilities. Agility, also known as speed, is how quickly a character gets their next turn. The higher it is, the shorter the amount of time before their next turn, not to mention the earlier they'll get their initial turn in battle ahead of other party members and the enemies. Vitality, also known as stamina, determines a character's defense. The higher this is, the less damage you'll take from physical attacks. Wisdom, also known as intelligence or intellect, increases the power of black magic and summons for those who can use one or both of these. Will, also known as spirit, is the same thing but for white magic. Both wisdom and will are used to calculate your magic defense along with your armor as well. Attack also contributes to the damage done with physical weapons and can be raised with better weapons. Attack percentage, aka accuracy, is your hit rate and the likelihood of making contact with enemies when you attack. Defense determines how much damage you take from physical attacks, as armor helps dictate that as well. The percentage, also known as evasion, is your likelihood to avoid those hits. And lastly, and I alluded to this a moment ago, but magic defense and magic evasion are the same thing but for magic attacks. And the other stats plus your armor factor into this as well.
Thank you very much, Fluff. Perfect timing as Sage Tellah has joined the party. Let's get into the first battle with him here. See what he can do. Got some water-based enemies here. Hopefully you got lit, old man. Weird sentence, but alright, there you go. I like that we recognize him by name. His reputation precedes him for Cecil, and yet he only knows 5 spells. He's this all-powerful wizard, and yet that's his entire bullpen right there. But to be fair, in his defense, I think he does admit that, yeah, he's not as powerful as he used to be. He's forgotten a lot of spells in his older age, but how does this old man have more HP than Cecil, the former leader of the Red Wings? That's what I want to know. Maybe that's why we got relieved of our duties as leader of the Red Wings. The king found out and said, well, we can't have this guy leading our most powerful military force. Maybe put this old man in charge instead. But anyway, Blaze, how about him?
As the professor commented, Tellah isn't all that powerful when we first meet him. You'll find him to be a decent upgrade over Rydia, and you won't have to worry about his HP because, again, as the professor pointed out, the old man unaccountably has more HP than the young Cecil. But anyway, with a decent complement of spells when we get him, Tellah is a good stopgap to help us for the remainder of the underground waterway, not to mention the upcoming boss.
Good call. Thank you very much, Blaze. And you can find a hidden area behind the waterfall here where we can find some loot. Some nice loot, actually. There's an elixir, which is a very valuable item, especially this early on in the game. Got a key or two as well. $1,000. Well worth the trouble. Actually, as we make our way to the boss on the outside and then coming back inside, just follow along as we bring Blaze back in now to give us an overview on the many items right here in Final Fantasy IV. Blaze?
Alright, let's talk the items you can find or purchase here in Final Fantasy IV. First, you have 3 levels of cure potions to restore increasing amounts of health. Late in the game, the basic cures will just be taking up inventory space and it'll be relatively useless overall, but early on they've still got their place, especially when you go for stretches without a magic user. Life potions revive a fallen ally, albeit with relatively little HP. The heal potion cures all status, conditions, and ailments. Note that this is in place of condition-specific items, which are common to the Final Fantasy series, which were in the original Japanese and subsequent versions of the game, which, for what it's worth, are antidotes for curing poison, eye drops for curing blind, Maiden's Kiss for curing frog, and gold needles for curing the stone status. That version also has Phoenix Downs in place of the life potion, but in getting back to our version, our game, we have Ether 1 and 2, which are used to restore a lower and higher amount of MP, the Elixir, which will fully restore a character's HP and MP, Carrots, which the professor already showed, lure the big Chocobo out of hiding in certain spots to store your stuff. We have Tents, which partially restore your party's HP and MP, and cure status ailments. And lastly, we also have Cabins, which completely restore your party's MP and HP while curing ailments. Note that you can only use tents and cabins either on the overworld map or at specific save spots in dungeons.
Thank you very much, Blaze. We'll be coming up on our first one before too long with Tellah and Rydia here in a moment. How does a water bug retreat, by the way? What sort of legs or leg equivalents are those water bugs rocking? The thoughts you experience while you're playing Final Fantasy IV. Work on those pockets, maybe. Get some deeper pockets or get some Velcro or something there. It's not much right now, 42 gold, and it's just, random as you're running from battles, but it gets kind of ridiculous later on in the game when you're running from a battle and dropping like 10,000 gold pieces out of your pants. Not even running all that stressfully from, or urgently from, some weaker enemies later on in the game. It's just, you have a lot more money at that point, and it comes out, apparently. A little offensive. The amount of money which we drop out of our pants late in the game could probably more than the average person makes in this game in their lifetimes, but but we're putting in the work. Doesn't seem like it right now. As I just tried to run in beat with the music right there. Just me? Anyone else do that growing up? You gotta find a way to amuse yourself sometimes with all the random encounters. Ether there. Don't be afraid to go ahead and use these items, by the way, as you need to. I probably saying that more for myself than anything else. I have a tendency to hoard items in these games and then get to the very end of the game and just have absolute spoil of riches. Just needlessly sitting on at that point in the game. But anyway, special field will protect us. This is where we can use our tent or cabin if we've got one. And Tellah sharing his. All of a sudden the circle looks a lot bigger. Must have been very tired. Said she was a caller from Mist. Again, what's the adjective for that bard? We'll find out. And we need the sand ruby. What is this monster? It's a horrifying monster with 8 tentacles. No, I'm sure your magic will become... Well, it's going to be very handy in general, but certainly for taking down this boss. Let's get going. Get a save in here in the save circle. Couple more goodies to loot here in the cavern. Not going to bother fighting much of anyone ahead of this boss. Save our strength. Got the ice rod. Pop that on Tellah. It's a good look for Tellah. I like those shades. Let's give this to Rydia. It's a better upgrade for her. That's one of those items where we can just use it in our inventory to get that level 1 ice spell. Zombies. A little tempted to use Tellah's flames. Pay attention when Tellah does this, Rydia. It's not that difficult. Alright, not that powerful either. Still, did more damage than the ice. Which we had her casting earlier. Yeah, it got us over the hump right there. Yeah, ice did about a quarter of the damage, which the level 1 flame spell did there. Couple chests here along the bottom. Still gonna run for most of these. $200. Cure. Yeah, most of the items in these chests aren't really worth it, but just in the interest of making sure we hit every chest in this game, show you where they all are. No thank you. Honestly, I would rather take the no strike first or back attacked, just because it takes time to announce that to us. And now we have our first instance of being able to go through a wall where they actually show you the outline. That's the case in a lot of caverns, certainly. Try the fire on the jelly. Can't stress enough how much I love the animations of the monsters in this game. Sleep, that's a good one. You can see the faint outline, excuse me, the faint outline of the cut through here against the black of the rest of the area. Kind of like that. We'll come back there eventually. That's where we're ultimately going, but first, pop out here and grab ourselves leather helmet. I think Rydia needs all the protection she can get, being the weak link here. And you're not wearing anything, are you, Tellah? There you go. It's an upgrade for you. One more cure for good measure. It's a lot of bad guys. A little tempted to use some lit from Tellah on them. Don't let me down. There you go. That's what... Well, alright, it's not that much better. I was about to deflect a little bit on Tellah's behalf there. Yeah, these water bugs are a little too strong for my liking. Really? Both have to be ready to drop here. Let's just let Tellah finish them off with one more lit. And we'll see if this experience is worth it. My goodness. I think Waterbugs got the memo that this game just started about an hour ago. You're a little too beefy for this stage in the game, Waterbug. Put him down, Cecil. There you go. 306. Yeah, it's not worth it to grind. And again, thankfully they don't make you grind, really. Certainly not worth it to grind anytime soon. No. Again, gotta stop off at the seamstress in the next town, get our pockets all patched up. There's no excuse to be running from so urgently from such... Love the background shots right there. Such weakling enemies. Darkness Sword.
The Darkness Sword, also known as the Shadow Blade, is a plus 20 in attack and plus 35 in the attack percentage. It's double the attack power of the Dark Sword you begin with, so you should notice a marked difference immediately upon equipping it.
Good call, Blaze. Thank you very much. That's the annoying bit about being surprised or being attacked from behind. Either of which means that the enemies are going to get a turn before you do. Every single one of them, for the most part. Before you have control over your people and can actually make a break for it. We have a little bit of a stretch once we come out of here before we actually fight the boss. We'll have to go back into another cave. Yeah, we can pitch a tent. Certainly an option. Right here in this little in-between area. Doesn't seem necessary. We'll hand gesture those sandmen were throwing to us. Gotta be a better way to get down here. I feel like we would sustain a little bit of bodily harm from just dropping down that massive waterfall. But yeah, rather anticlimactic. You get to the bottom of the waterfall and you're still not at the Octomammoth. Octomammoth being the next boss we fight. The one which Tellah referenced. Starting to replace our shadow equipment with darkness equipment. Gonna say, is that the full set? Still waiting on the Darkness Shield. Have the matching set otherwise. There it is. This boss in particular, based on its animation, feels very... And the Mad Toads as well. Feels very much like Mystic Quest right here. Your spells don't always take. The toad right there. Sometimes they do, and it's adorable when they do. You can be transformed into a toad, a pig. We have our fun here in Final Fantasy IV. This will require a heal to get him right. Or a Maiden's Kiss. In the greater Final Fantasy lore. 173. Yeah, still not worth it. Good lord. It's a bit much. Bit much. Alligator gets a double hit on us. Anyway, though, coming up on the second boss now in Octomammoth, so let's go back to Gary for tips on how to take him down. Gary, what do we got?
Boss beaters.
Octomammoth is pretty straightforward regardless of your level. You'll find that Cecil is doing most of the heavy lifting, as is typically the case early on in the game. Just keep attacking with that new sword you just got to exploit its weakness against dark. Note that Cecil's dark ability in more modern versions of the game doesn't deal elemental damage despite the name, so stick to the sword regardless of the version you're playing. Rydia should summon Chocobo, and Tellah casts Lit, and each of them healing Rydia as necessary. After 8 to 10 turns with this strategy, you'll take him down.
Thank you, Gary. I heard telecast there. Just a happy turn of phrase, but yeah, that darkness sword working out pretty well, as Gary mentioned right there. This looks like it has a British flag on its face. And Chocobo, better than nothing, I suppose. Expect that Lit to do a little bit more. Just wait till it all comes back to Tellah, but yeah. Cecil's doing most of the heavy lifting here. I love they were having fun with the idea of Chocobos from Final Fantasy. Well, very early on, but just... Pretty much as soon as they came up with the idea of Chocobos, they were just like, let's just have fun. Let's just lean into it. Have them be super cute. We should be able to summon them. And when they show up, they're doofy and adorable. And they'll do about 120 damage in this scenario. Welcome to the Gold Saucer. We even have fancy chocobos in this game. We have the white chocobo, which we saw. We have the yellow ones, which we rode. There's also the black chocobo, which allows us to fly over water. Getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. But yeah, the last two tentacles, we will not have to take any more out. This will be the final form, as it were, of Octomammoth. Yeah, good. Rydia gained a level there. And we can go to Damcyan from behind this. No, why? Until we did this, it always read to me as Damcyan. Damcyan, but no, it's Damcyan. Oh, that's not good. Who's leading the Red Wings? Gotta work on their aim a little bit. I mean, sure, they hit the castle, but wasted a lot of artillery on the desert. Damcyan. That guy's dead. Took the crystal. When? When they were bombing the entire castle by air, someone snuck down and stole your crystal? We found a tent. Pot of recovery. Yeah. Too bad you can't get up there. Alright, here we go. Sadly, that's Anna. Tellah's daughter. You're the bard, you did this to her? I mean, clearly it was the Red Wing aerial attack just now, but I get it. You're in a blind rage, so I'll let you do your thing. Especially since we're about to experience one of the greatest lines in video game history, for my money. He's a bard. It's well established. The man on the left is a bard. You Spoony Bard. Oh, you Spoony Bard. There it is. He said the line. He said the thing. Shut up. I mean, there's no comeback in this bard's defense. After someone calls you a Spoony Bard, there's no coming back from that. Yeah, aye, that's all you can really say. Oh, Anna's not dead. Let's all surround her. Give me, Father. I love Edward. Golbez attacked us with the Red Wings. He took the Crystal of Fire, and Anna shielded him from the arrows. So Anna sacrificed herself to protect this Spoony Bard. She loves him. That is very sweet. And being not the biggest fan of Edward, not really worth it. In my estimation. He will help us later, though. Alright, so Tellah's on his revenge tour now. There's no reasoning with him. If you want, you can unequip him before he leaves the party. Pointed out for subsequent party members later on, but before they leave. But yeah, I'm not sure we're missing all that much. Probably lost about $150 in stuff we could have sold. Yeah, you're grown up. I killed Rydia's mom. You'd have a drinking game on the side for every time that Cecil reacts to the reality that he killed Rydia's mother. Yeah, smack him. Not the only one who's sad, Edward. Yeah, I never met Anna, but I can assume that she would not be happy with you just sulking all the time. Help my friend. Help me help my friend. I help you? She is important. Her being Rosa. The Antlion. Alright, so we're headed to the Antlion's Cave. It's a hovercraft we can use, alright. Prince Edward joined as a bard. What else would he join as?
Blaze, how about Edward? I'm sure there's some Edward fans out there somewhere, but objectively speaking, he's a bit of a trade down from Tellah at this stage in the game. Edward the Bard rocks a harp, which, when used in battle, randomly selects and plays one of 4 songs, each with its own status-changing effect. These include Lullaby to put enemies to sleep, Silent Verse to silence enemies and stop them from using spells, Alluring Air to confuse enemies and possibly have them take each other out or themselves, and Toad Song, which unsurprisingly has a chance to turn enemies into toads. Because you have no control over which status effect is picked, and there's no guarantee your targets are susceptible to that effect in the first place, it's not all that useful. He also has the ability to hide on demand, meaning he'll leave the field of battle temporarily like Kain. Unlike Kain, when he comes back he doesn't attack anyone, he just runs back like, oh, you guys are still fighting? Yes, I am useless, you're right. Yeah, this ability automatically engages when his health is critical, and I'm sure there's a very specific, unique instance where this comes in handy if the rest of the party gets wrecked from an otherwise game-ending attack, but anyway. Actually, Edward's most powerful ability, called Salve, or Salve, which allows him to use potions and extend the effects to everyone in the party, is missing from the North American version of the game. Go figure. By the way, his Bard's Tunic prevents silence, so you might want to pop that on someone who casts spells like Rydia.
Good call, Blaze. And how about that ruby ring we just picked up?
The ruby ring provides marginal magic defense and evasion, but more importantly prevents the pig status from working against its wearer.
All right, good call. Thank you very much, Blaze. Well, let's head out now. Not sure who closed that. Yeah, I'm not sure. It makes you think that maybe the remainder of the planets, and yeah, just pop over here to get to the Antlion's Cave. And we got some chests to check out here. Nice teal coloring on them. And while we're working our way to the Antlion and ultimately the Sand Ruby, let's go to Fluff for a Fluff fact about Final Fantasy IV.
Okay, I'll talk more about the different versions and remakes of this game in a bit, but let's first address the somewhat confusing business of the name. Despite this being called Final Fantasy II upon its initial SNES release in 1991, this is actually Final Fantasy IV overall. The reason for the name in North America is that after the original Final Fantasy, which we held a class on here on Video Games 101, which you can check out via the playlist in the description, the true Final Fantasies 2 and 3 were Japanese Famicom exclusives, which never came to North America back in the late 80s and early 90s. The same holds true for Final Fantasy 3 for the SNES, which is actually Final Fantasy 6 overall, but I digress. The million-dollar question is why weren't the true Final Fantasy 2, 3, and 5 games for that matter not released in the US? There are actually a variety of reasons, but a lot of it simply came down to timing. The original Final Fantasy wasn't released for Western audiences on the NES until 1990, roughly the same time which Final Fantasy III was coming out in Japan. Considering Nintendo's next-generation system was making its debut in Japan in the Super Famicom that same year, and it was set to release as the Super Nintendo in America a year later in 1991, the same year this game came out in both regions, Square's attention was shifting to the development and release of this game to take advantage of and show what the series' next-generation debut would look like on the new hardware. It also wouldn't have been wise or tenable to localize and squeeze out the releases of 2 extra NES games before this game's release in 1991. Of course, this still doesn't explain why 1992's Final Fantasy V was never localized for American audiences, because at this point, the SNES was the established name in town, and they were all caught up. Purportedly, Square didn't think Western audiences would grasp or appreciate the complexities of the job system in Final Fantasy V, and were still kind of thinking RPGs were too much of an acquired taste for Western gamers in general. So they developed our very own game in Final Fantasy, Mystic Quest, which I always describe as Final Fantasy Light, as it plays like a very simplified version of the title in the series, but still an excellent game in its own right, and a game I'd like to do a class on in the future, Professor.
Yeah, I agree. Good call. I love that game.
By the time Final Fantasy VI came out in 1994, again named Final Fantasy III in North America, to avoid confusion/create confusion years later, Western audiences had more or less caught up with the Japanese releases, and beginning with Final Fantasy VII, the name changes were dropped, and the entire world has enjoyed all of the titles in the main series ever since.
Thank you, Fluff. Yeah, I'm tempted to make a joke in response to that in singling out one title in the series, which I maybe didn't enjoy as much, but undoubtedly there would be a number of members of the class who would cite that game as being their favorite, whichever one I picked. Besides, they're all, at a baseline at least, pretty decent, all the way up to my favorite game of all time, in Final Fantasy VII, so I'm curious, what's your favorite Final Fantasy title, class? But yeah, Edward, we got to see his party trick there. He might be the LVP, the least valuable party member, Edward, in this entire game. And when I say might, I mean he actually is. Apologies for all the Edward fans out there. Gotta be a couple. He's dead weight. Spoilers, but we will not have to be with him saddled with Edward for too long. Grand scheme of things, I suppose. It just finally got the Final Fantasy Tactics remaster. Nice that they gave that some love. There was the longest time. Oh, we have our first casualty. I think that's our first death. Cannot claim the no death run. That's alright. It's a fact of life. No pun intended. And they do supply us with a life potion right there. Swoon. Yeah, we don't really have a dedicated healer in the party right now, actually, so I guess Rydia is the best we got. She dabbles in both. We won't have a cure 2 for a little while. Give her an ether right there to get her MP back up, but we do have some opportunities to pitch a tent not too far from here. Got an upgrade to Edward's harp. Now we're saved. Double the damage. How about that? He's still irrelevant. And much more clearly defined cutaway here. Against the brown. Depends on the bordering colors, the neighboring colors, if you will. We're going to head back out that way on the way out, so we missed some stuff. We're going to hit it on the way out. No worries. And we're in good shape, so we don't need to be worrying about pitching a tent or anything, but this is the lure of the Antlion. Oh, don't worry, Antlion's tame. I'll just take the sand ruby. Oh my goodness. No. Let's go, Rydia.
Let's go, Gary.
Boss beaters.
Antlion sure doesn't like being attacked by physical attacks. So much so that he'll counter with a move literally called counter when you use the fight command on him, which will hit a random party member for somewhere between 20 to 30 damage. If you don't want to take any damage, just stick to Rydia's Chocobo summon. Though I recommend having Cecil attack as well despite the retaliations, as it speeds this battle up. Aside from the counters, all Antlion really does is a weak melee attack of his own. Between Rydia and Cecil's attacks, you should be able to take him down after 5 to 6 rounds.
Thank you very much, Gary. Always kind of looked like it was wearing an earring there on its right side. I guess it's just another claw, but yeah, the animation of the Antlion looks, I don't know, it's very distinct compared to most other enemies in this game. Most other bosses. They do have a good time with the animations, but Antlion stands on its own. Yeah, still early days where you don't have a big complement of magic spells, so your strategy, it's a grandiose term for what we're doing here. Alright, hopefully Rydia doesn't take any subsequent damage here. There we go. Yeah, just Chocobo and stab it. Not the most complicated of formulas, but certainly effective. Good call. You alright, Edward? After all that hiding? Why did the Antlion attack? Yeah, monsters get more aggressive every day. I used to have an imp as a pet. Doesn't make sense anymore. Just a little patch job to get us out of here. Don't have to dip into our life bag anymore. It's always that question of would they hang out? I'm gonna speed this up a little bit if you don't mind. Just in cases where we get surprised. As we make our egress here. Yeah, the basilisk and the turtle, I guess they'd hang out. They're kind of from the same kingdom, or whatever the more narrow term is, I forget. Paraweepers, I feel like they'd hang out. Some of them are more obvious. Come on. The weaker enemies, we'd be able to sidestep them just a little bit. And here's your save field if you did want to take it. So in this version, the SNES version, it's just a chest over here, but I believe in some of the more subsequent versions, there's a bit of a emergency exit, as they call it, to get out of here a little bit faster. Being that we don't have that, we're going to speed this up just a little bit. I don't think anyone will begrudge us going slightly warp speed as we avoid some battles and just hightail it out. Yeah, some sandworms. Hightail it out of here. A couple more sandworms. Music's not that bad at 4 times the speed, by the way. Alright, back on hovercraft and back to Kaipo, which we can access by just hugging the shallows here with our hovercraft. And down here to the oasis. One heck of an oasis, by the way. The amount of water here. It's generous, to say the least. They move out of the way with a bit more urgency than they did in the original Final Fantasy. I certainly appreciate that. Alright, we got the Sand Ruby. Select it from an inventory after we talk to her. Use the Sand Ruby over Rosa. Assume that's how that works. First time we've used Sand Ruby to bring someone back. You alright? Couldn't believe it. Waited him to the Red Wings. So Golbez is running the Red Wings now. And he's a terrible shot by the looks of it. I'm sorry, I can't get over the... Alright, the Crystal of Fire, they took that. But we got the Fabul crystal and the one in that final area. The earth and the air crystals. Yeah, I'm still bitter about being relieved from my post as the head of the Red Wings. Yeah, come on, Rydia. Tellah used it. Rosa's like, come on, everyone knows the fire spell. You must rest. Now we'll have a dedicated healer in the party once Rosa joins up. Listen to Edward, the only time I'll ever say those words. Nice. We don't get the join the party music right there, but... Alright, so we're spending the night here in Kaipo, and as we do... I think Edward's gonna pop outside. Can't sleep, what with there being only one bed for 4 of us. 6 if you count the man that lives there and that woman. One thing I will say about Edward, I like his heart piece right here. Although it has a nasty habit of attracting the wrong kind. Just some enemy shows up. Ugh. I don't like the harp. Or maybe it's like, oh, I used to play harp in college, but he just can't accurately and adequately communicate that to Edward effectively because he's a water hag. Anna? But you died in Damcyan. Fight, Edward. We will fight. Believe in yourself. And be strong. It's inspiring stuff. See if it helps. Arg! If every enemy did that. Man, that Sea Hag really could have used someone like Anna in his corner, but you have 800 XP. You see how much more you get when you're not sharing it with, 4 other party members. Let's go now. Don't leave me alone. Don't let Golbez have all the crystals. He can have some of them. Don't let him have all of them. Greedy goose, that Golbez. So don't let Golbez have all the crystals. Anna's parting words. What am I supposed to do now, Anna? What are you, David Duke? It's like David Duchovny and Zoolander. You serious? I just told you. Alright, let's go. Everybody's topped off. We got Rosa in the party now. And I guess we'll swap her out with Edward. Can you handle that, Edward, being in the front line? You don't have front line talent, but I don't really have a choice. We'll give Rosa the white arrows if we want her to do a little extra damage. Give her the crossbow as an upgrade over the short bow. And otherwise, I think we're good. Blaze, how about Rosa?
Rosa is a white mage here in Final Fantasy IV, meaning she mostly slots in a supporting role for keeping the rest of the party on their feet with her restorative spells. Aside from her magic, she has the abilities of aim, which guarantees a powerful hit from her main weapon of the bow, and pray in modern versions of the game, which is basically a cost-free cure spell which is not guaranteed to take. Like Rydia, I recommend putting her in the back row, which works just fine with her ranged bow attack.
Thank you, Blaze. Hop back on the hovercraft. Does sound like I'm referring to a very valuable member of the party in Final Fantasy VI and I'm saying damn Cyan, but no, it's damn Cyan. But here we are in Mount Hobs. Let's see if Rydia can overcome her past, her PTSD, even though we're kind of forcing her, and this is not the way to get healthy, but she doesn't like fire. She's afraid of fire because we destroyed her village in a fire. The number of times, I'm telling you, that's the drinking game. I don't condone it, but that's the drinking game. Every time Cecil awkwardly makes reference to or just acknowledges the fact that he burned her village and killed her mother. There you go. Pretty nice. You know, you didn't even have to take out those side ices, but I appreciate it. I think we'll be hearing that music after every spell that we learn. That wouldn't be very efficient, but I get it. It's a big moment for Rydia. The number of times which Cecil says Rydia ... in this game. I get it. There's some guilt there. Understandable guilt. Deserved guilt. Sing. It doesn't inspire confidence that that's Edward's big ability. Again, you know, in the other versions where he's got the salve, much more useful, but in this version, dead weight. He's also got a level up there, that's good. Yeah, this is straight out of the mountain where you fight Pazuzu and Mystic Quest. Gotta do a class on that. Simple as that would be, I think it would just be fun to play that game. Video Games 101. Yeah, the cockatrices right here, abbreviated somewhat unflatteringly to cock trick right there, they have kind of a similar animation in Mystic Quest, I believe. Yeah, strictly speaking, that game's pretty straightforward comparatively, certainly to this, but still fun. Yeah, it's more just going place to place. Clearing out all the enemies. No random encounters in that game, so that's nice for a change. A little mix-up of the formula. That's a sign of respect right there. Beaked himself to death rather than take us on. Be a bad place to toss and turn in your sleep, by the way. Or be a sleepwalker. Pitching that tent right on the edge of this cliff. Ooh. Save on the books. There's no incentive to not save. There's no, well, like original Legend of Zelda or whichever one where you beat this and I guess it was Link to the Past. The number of saves that you had on file. Definitely Link to the Past at the end. Even then, it didn't really matter, but... Nah, we're good. So 5 is the max, obviously, for party members in this game, and we're about to fill out our 5 here. As soon as we head up these stairs, we'll meet our 5th. Gray Bomb and Bomb. We'll have a chance to fight some Gray Bombs and Bombs in just a second, actually. There he is. What's that? Must be a karate fighter of Fabul. Achoo! Just always seemed like he just let out a massive sneeze when I was a kid. Achoo! Just some imp captains. I don't think we need to tap in for this one. Good work, Yang. Nope. This one will not be easy. Let's help him out. All right, boss time. MomBomb.
Boss beaters.
MomBomb has an unrealistic amount of health and will detonate into 6 smaller bombs before you can take her down. This move does a lot of damage, so make sure everyone's healed up before it happens. At this point, just use multi-target attacks like Yang's Kick or Rydia's Ice.
Simple as. Thank you very much, Gary. And Edward, you do you. Just about waiting him out until he explodes, and then we got to take out the individual bombs and whatever the other ones were called. It's true. The weakest enemy. How about that base, though? Alright, come on, do it, MomBomb. It's split already. You know, we don't have 11,000 HP in the tank. A little unnecessary, but everybody else is in pretty good health. I guess Yang could use a little touch-up. Now, Edward's like, you sure you don't need my help? Ooh, that's a swole MomBomb. It's like one of the few animations that seems out of place in this game. I don't know, I feel like the Ice Rod should do a bit more than that. Looks more like something you'd see in Boy and His Blob. Boy and His Blob or something. Alright, be ready to heal us up. Yeah, it's a chunk. Just divide and conquer. That Cure 1 is so weak, it's almost not worth it to cast it on everybody at once to see. It's like demoralizing to see everyone get back 28 health. As Yang delivers 28 damage to that top Gray Bomb. Let's get Yang over 200 at least. There we are. 492 for all that effort. Edward's collecting on this too, by the way. Not even on the screen. Life, that's a good spell. Thank you, I'm Yang, the karate man of Fabul. We were training when they attacked us. And I think he's the only one that survived. So they had the Crystal of Air. Damcyan lost its crystal. We helped get the Crystal of Water. So let's double back to Fabul on the double. Yeah. Yeah, us Dark Knights have a bit of a bad reputation. Yeah, we don't need a... There it is again. I had to kill her mom. Alright, Karate Man Yang joined.
Karate Man Yang. I love how they introduce him. This is a pure fighter who uses the somewhat confusing weapon of claws. They're confusing in the sense that, generally speaking, claws won't affect Yang's attack power, meaning equipping one won't change the attack power showing in his stats section, and it doesn't necessarily have a bearing on the damage he'll do. The exception is obviously if he's got his claw with elemental damage tied to it, and you're fighting an enemy with a weakness to that elemental. Some claws have a chance at inflicting a status effect rather than elemental damage for what it's worth, but regardless, it's generally better to equip a claw versus just his bare fists, as I believe his hit rate goes up with most claws. Also, confusingly, equipping 2 claws doesn't result in double damage, even if it's 2 fire claws against a fire-susceptible enemy, so yeah, it's not like the Genji glove of Final Fantasy VI. Still, if you want to vary up the claws you have equipped to account for 2 types of enemy weaknesses, I think the game is fair in kind of granting you that before it considers enemy strengths against resistances. This is the rare time when I'll chime in and say, if anyone wants to add their thoughts on this, leave a comment and let me know your interpretation if it varies from mine, but in terms of abilities, Yang has the kick ability in our version, which hits all enemies on the screen. Lastly, there's a couple abilities which were left out of this version and found in modern versions or the original Japanese game, in Power and Gird, which skip a turn to have Yang do double damage on the next turn and do a stronger defense, respectively.
Thank you very much, Blaze. Yeah, nice to have Yang in the parties. Not the best, not the worst. Good while he's here. Some of the best overworld music, too, in any Final Fantasy, although I think Final Fantasy VI and the World of Ruin might outpace this one just a little bit. Nicely done, Edward. Probably the only time I'll say that. Here we are in Fabul. It's optional to deliver it that way. Fabul. Everybody else is dead. Yeah, apparently you guys just kind of crappy at fighting and training in general, but pop it at the inn here. Oh, I forgot we can rest at the king's bed, actually, for free. If you make the hike to go up to his personal quarters, you can go up there and sleep for free. Kind of funny, actually. Looks the same as every other bed in this game, but it is a freebie. So another instance where you might want to, just as before Tellah left the party, you might want to unequip Rydia and Rosa here. I know every time we do this, the party member's like, oh, wait, what's happening? What's about to happen to me? No, in this case, we're just, you're not going to die. You're just not going to be in the party for a little while. This is just the fella's stretch of the Fabul defense. As I believe the ruler of Fabul will prioritize Rosa and Rydia to, I don't know, heal or something. Which is fair, they're both healers. Making sure we have the best loadout. You can have your Bard outfit back. Ruby ring marginally better. It's kind of that, it's, you know, do you want to prioritize one or the other, but also the ruby ring has the added status protection. Not that it's too much of an issue of what we're about to run into. Good enough. And you got fire claws, you got thunder claws, ice claws. And you got the black armor for me, which is interesting. You guys are selling armor that only I can wear, a foreigner tier. You're strange and fair land. But I appreciate it, don't get me wrong. Don't even have armor for Yang, but I got stuff I can use. Alright, let's pop on the black armor. I like it. You can tell the translators, or I guess the original employees, were just... They had shadow, and then they're like, give us a thesaurus. Dark, black. I don't know. What else can we do? We can sell this stuff off. It's no use to us now. Sell his harp as well. Sell the ice rod. We can sell, so we can sell a lot of this stuff, but short bow we're not going to need again. You really don't need to be too precious. You can get kind of in your head about what you want to keep. But the truth is, you can always buy back stuff that you sell off in case you're like, I forgot, I shouldn't have sold that. Sometimes I forget about the ruby rings. I sell those, and then you just go back and buy them later. Love the sorting feature, though. You can't sort by any sort of alphabetically or type or anything. It just sort of does its own thing, but if you do have two or more of an item and they're split, it'll sort that out in your inventory. So before we go north and see the king, I guess it's the king of Fabul, we can loot their home here, despite the urgency of the moment. Give ourselves a tent, a heal, a cure. Naming away. You injured? He's tired. This is the nursing room. Maybe he's injured. He's been changing too many names. Here's Yang's wife. This is Cecily. Save my life. Thanks. Just a short and sweet thanks. You know, we've been separated for a while. The divorce is pending. So, like, I don't wish him any specific ill will, but, you know, I'm not going to break down and sob and ask for details when he tells me that you saved his life. Ambushed at Mount Hobs. We are, but everybody else died. At the hands of some very low-level enemies, if I say so myself. Beat them up, sir. Gotta get our dance in, right? Again, Barons at the gates. They're going to attack any second. Whoa. Wah! Wachu. The classic battle fanfare. Gotta see all the dancers in this game. Achoo! And here's the king's bedroom. This is the one where we can sleep in the bed. It's our king's bedroom, and then let's sleep in the king's bed. You think that lady would be like, I don't think so, but we're armed. What's she gonna say? Let's go. Alright. Yeah, enough wasting time. Baron will be here any second. Now we can enter the north area here, the chamber, and meet with the king. Got a sweet blue beard. Baronian Kingdom and their air force are coming. Golbez means to shoot us up. Yeah, we're good people. Sure thing. Nothing else to do. girls would you take the office of relief? So he just wants to hang out with the ladies. With our Rosa. They're coming. Meet them. So the general will run after you take down his fighters, so unlike our original battle, when I didn't want anyone gossiping about the fact that Rydia survived, we survived, we're just gonna take down the fighters in this case. Let the general turn tail and run. These guys have a bit more oomph than those last fighters. Still, nothing we can't handle. Yeah, I think Yang had a better bedroom than the king did, actually. Which lends credence to the theory that, there he goes. The Yang's the one held in high esteem around here. Why they let us sleep in his bed, king's bed. The Red Wings. All right, this is the one time when I concede maybe we should go inside. Not much we can do on the ground. It's like another country having the nuclear bomb and, you know, being able to hold it over our heads. Hold it over. That's the last place you want a nuclear bomb, actually. But my point being that maybe the other countries... Sounds like I'm advocating for every nation in the world to have nuclear weapons. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying no one should have airships. Don't get it twisted. Go run and hide, Edward. We got this. Let the adults handle the imp captain and the weeper. Has to be confusing. We took on 3 imp captains earlier. How do they know who's actually in charge between the 3 of those? Getting conflict. You just collect those levels off screen, Edward. Ooh, so much for those guys. Oh no. The imp captains have control of the inn. Now we're really out of luck. Yeah, it's a little frustrating that we're clearly relatively easily winning these battles, and yet we have to keep dropping back, retreating. Alright, Edward is about to die, but thankfully his natural instincts will kick in on their own, given enough time when he's close to death. Sticking around, General? I'm gonna say. I know what I'd do. Feel like we could hold there, but that's fine. Are those extra guys doing anything, by the way? Lock the door, we must at least hold this room. Steven? The heck are you doing? Ah, yeah, that makes sense now. Wow. It's a heck of a disguise this gargoyle was rocking. Thought it was Steven. Still, everyone going down relatively easy by the hand of Cecil's sword. Or the blade. Where's Baron recruiting, by the way? They've loosened the recruitment standards when they're letting in a water hag, an imp captain, a weeper, just these random monsters enlisting in Baron's army. They must be desperate after we left. Let me guess, fallback, yep. It's just a couple imps, Edward. The one time you didn't hide. And the general's vocabulary is rather limited. Charge and retreat. That's all he knows. That's all he needs to know. Makes you wonder how they took over anything with generals like that in their army. But we fall back once again to the crystal room. And there it is, the crystal of air. Kain? You're alive. Haven't seen you since... Against me? What? Is this another test? Single combat. You know I can't win that. Gary?
Boss beaters.
With Kain's jumps, this is a perfect example of how unfair one-on-one combat is with a Dragoon. Thankfully, this is an unwinnable battle by design, so the normal stats don't matter here. Just take as much damage as possible to get it over with.
That's a relief. Thank you, Gary. That's just nasty. Get off my lawn. That's what that move is. Actually, I kind of regret dropping back there. It's just gonna make this battle last longer than it needs to. Gotcha! Come on, Kain, that's just not fair. Swoon. He's under Golbez's control. That makes a lot more sense. Rosa? Don't look at me. He's ashamed at being so mind control. Golbez. It's the guy that took our job. Took our gerb. Ooh. Golbez would be nice to have in the party. No foreshadowing there. Wait, no, don't take Rosa. She just joined the party. I just kind of swallowed her up. Ugh. She was our healer. Rydia's okay and all, but come on now. Yeah, Golbez kind of saved our bacon there. Rosa. Rosebud. You got this. There you go. Level 1 cure. Alright, I feel 20 HP better. Thank you, Rydia. Rosa was taken, and the crystal. Yeah, we came up goose egg here. Yeah, we need another pep talk from Rydia. Thank you. Just think about how to rescue Rosa. Thanks, gang. Edward, you don't need to help. Don't feel obligated to hang out. You can grab a cure there. And then there's also the kind of hidden room. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but it's one of those instances, I think the first one where we go off the screen here and then go to the right. 3 extra treasures as we cross the void. There's the black shield, finally. Black is... it's very in. Never get the black sword, sadly. To my knowledge. But we match otherwise. King's been wounded, resting in his bedroom. / kind of our bedroom. Kind of laid claim to that. So let's go see him. It's kind of a roundabout way, because ultimately he's going to recommend that we rest at the inn, so... I'm not sleeping, I'm contemplating. There he is. Rest for now. Alright. I wasn't really worried about the king. Don't know that we'll ever see him again after we leave this place. Alright, so let's take his advice. Go to the inn. Where I think we can rest for free this time. They'll waive the 100 gold fee. Alright, what's the plan, gang? Yeah, we need an airship. There's an idea. Baron's main force is the Red Wing. Sea power. Yeah, they went all in on the air. Which, can't blame them. I think that's the better course. They're kind of untouchable in the air. Aside from those floating eyes, but clearly we know how to handle them. Firebomb. Alright, now we're talking. And we get a sword out of it, too. Oh, we do get the black sword. Instantly take that back. If Golbez acquires them all, the world will be in deep doo-doo, to say the least. Now we're fully matching. Black sword, black outfit. Black ship? I don't think it's black, actually. Let's pop that baby on. Oh yeah, plus 11. And the ship should be waiting for us just outside. And actually, before we head out, another instance where you might want to unequip everybody. And another instance where they're all like, wait, what's about to happen, Cecil? Normally this is a bad thing. Alright, we already unequipped Rydia of everything. We can sell some of the stuff off now. Actually. Just taking up inventory space otherwise. Give you some stuff that you cannot even hope to resell. I'm the only Dark Knight, I think, in the entire world. But good luck. Of other stuff, maybe. It's gonna be a while before we see some of these people in our party again, so... There you go. Spoiler alert. We're gonna be on our own for a little while. Everybody strip before getting on the boat. It's a Dark Knight thing. Don't ask me to elaborate, it's awkward. This feels very Shining Force sort of had ya right here, the boat animation. There you go, once again. Yang's wife. Soon to be X if you follow the lore we're establishing here, seeing us off. And there's the captain. Raise the anchor. I'm so conditioned to expect bad things when I hear that right there, but no. I'm also conditioned after playing just a handful of RPGs that the first time you get in a boat, in most games, something bad's about to happen. I repeat, something bad is about to happen. Yeah, what are we gonna do? We'll find Master Sid, or Sid, the Master Engineer, better said. What's the problem, Edward? It's always when you get to open water, too. It's a giant tentacle. Not the first time we've seen a Leviathan on this channel. Illusion of Gaia. Leviathan, yep. And they never want to help, you know, give us directions or anything, or nice seafood recipe. Nah, that doesn't look good. Everyone just freaks out. Stop it. Yeah, I'm not sure that took, Captain. Rydia! Yang's a good dude. Dives right in after her. Edward just kind of watches, as does Cecil. And we gotta just make sure Edward didn't hit his head too bad or something. Be the worst thing in the world if he couldn't hide during our next battle. Uh-oh. Yeah, didn't work out so hot for Seth in Illusion of Gaia. We managed to get washed up on some kind of shore. Beach? Layman's terms. Rydia. Edward. Yang. Kain? Tellah? Guess I'm alone. Doesn't feel like something that Cecil would say, but... Alright, pop in the nearest... Oh, it's Mysidia. Why does that name sound familiar? Oh, right, we came here and totally stole their crystal and killed their friends and... Oh. Guess they're still a bit sore about that. So this guy will turn you into a toad, but if you talk to him again... You must not realize casting it twice undoes the effect. Just like popping in the inn here. I'm sure the dancers aren't bitter about us killing their friends, right? It's the creepy dance music. Such a waste of time in the grand scheme of things, but we have to show it. Getting sleepy. It's the pixelation hardware effect. I turned you into a cute little pig. We are adorable. I like us on the menu screen too. A little pig icon. I like our little pig strut too, left to right. It's pretty cute, but I don't think we can save the world as a pig, so you mind undoing it? I think one of these people, after they shape-shifted us, they'd be like, no, I'm not doing it again. I hate you. Killed my mom. Sorry, Rydia. Alright. Enough being transformed into things. Which we buy while we're here in Mysidia. I don't know why you're laughing. Just undid that effect, but that's fine. House of Wishes. What do you want from us this time? Hey, do you have an extra? An ex-captain of the Red Wings. I'm a good guy now, basically. Or I'm trying to be, at least. As long as we depend on the dark sword, we can never defeat true evil. Go to Mount Ordeals and become a paladin. There you go. Gotta become a regular Mr. Nice Guy for those who get the reference. Take wizards with you. Palom and Porom. Palom, come on. Kid knows how to make an entrance. Gotta love Palom and Porom. So you're that Baronium guy. Baronian guy, aren't you? He's too young to be annoyed that we killed everyone in town. Well, not everyone, but some people. How do you do, sir? Hey, you guys really don't have to be that nice to me. I'm, kind of an a-hole around these parts. But Palom and Porom joined.
Palom and Porom are decent magic users in the focuses of black and white magics respectively. For the cost of 10 MP each, their twin ability does a powerful spell like Flare or Comet to deal big damage to your enemies, so you'll oftentimes want to opt for that in battle at the expense of sacrificing both of their turns on it.
Good call, Blaze. Yep, very powerful. Well worth it. Buy some armor while we're at it. We got the Gaia. Just mentioned Illusion of Gaia. All the Paladin clothes. Not the worst idea if we want to bet on ourselves to buy some Paladin clothes right now. I'm relatively sure that I'm going to succeed in my quest. I'm going to buy the Paladin gauntlets and shield right now. Can't equip them just yet. But if all goes as planned, give him the, I guess, I think give the guy a helmet right there and the covering and the silver. All the stuff that we unequip from everybody else. Give you the Gaia. So yeah, you're a staff person, so you can't rock the rods. Porom. I think it wouldn't be too dissimilar a situation whether you're wielding a staff or a rod. I don't know, I'm not a magic user, but... So, we will give that to Palom in that case. Yeah, I got the two mixed up in my head, Palom and Porom. We'll give you the rod, give you the crossbow, even though you're not going to be fighting all that much. Looking good. Yeah, it's just my own. It's going to bother me if I don't sort that out. Give you the white arrows, 64. Bunch those up, looking good. You can dump some of this stuff, the regular staff, so pedestrian at this point. Probably not going to use those iron arrows, but let's drop them, since we did go in on a few more of those white arrows. It's not the worst idea to hang on to some of the ruby rings. We'll need some later, but yeah, inventory space is kind of at a premium in this game. That's why they add in the fat chocobos. So, we are setting out to become a paladin. So, part of the reason why you might not want to, as we speed things up here, why you might not want to do any leveling before you head to Mount Ordeals here to become a paladin is because we're going to have our level reset at 1 after we get our transformation from a dark knight to a paladin. So any progress which you made with Cecil anyway is going to be made redundant up to this point. So there you go. It is very satisfying though after we do get that reset back to level 1. Because for a while there, you know, every battle you're basically accumulating 3-4 levels. You're leveling up that much, so it's a satisfying feeling. Seeing those stats go up quite quickly. But there's Mount Ordeals. We change our party members just to look. Just a nice little detail that didn't need to be in the game, but I appreciate it just the same. Just tapping R to switch between the character on the screen. So as we had Rydia melt away the ice before, now we have the opposite problem. Whole mess of flames. You got this, Palom? I know that. You don't have to say that. There you go. And what would lightning clear? If we had I guess a bunch of earth there, or would that be the opposite? I don't know, but we'll never have to find out. All right, the way has been cleared. Meanwhile, it's our first meanwhile. Milon. Hey, look. It's Milon from Queen Eliza's needlessly annoying collection of impractical obstacle-filled rooms, everyone. Surprised he found his way out. He looks a little different from when we last saw him in our class on that game. I'm not going to say it again. Cecil will save us. Me. Probably not you, Golbez, but me. I sent Milon after him. He's one of everyone paying attention. Milon is one of the 4 fiends of elementals, so there you go. Blundering. Watch the girl. She's tied up. What does Kain actually have to do in that situation? Alright, so a few chests en route to the summit. Again, not a lot of point in stopping off and fighting anyone just yet. Palom and Porom won't even be hanging around the party for all that long without getting any too more into it. But yes, when we come out, we will certainly do a bit of grinding on the other side of level 1. And incidentally, this is not a bad place to grind, actually, after you've become a paladin. Especially after we get one more party member in the group. Yeah, this feels very much like... There he is. That didn't take long. It's very Mount Gale. Hey, Tellah. How you been? You still on your rage tour? He knows Medio. Or he wants to learn Medio. Call him Master Tellah. Everyone knows this wizard with level 1 spells. I'm sorry, level 2 spells now. He's been working since we last saw Master Tellah. He's actually going to be quite useful in this coming stretch. Kids. All right. Anyway. Yeah, it's an all-around bummer, Tellah. That must be his girlfriend. I always identified with Palom as a kid. He was the comic relief, and what kid doesn't like that? So he's been seeking the magic of legend, Medio. You're too old. It might kill him, but he's willing to take that risk for his Ana. Yeah, we're trying to become a paladin, clean up our checkered past. Source of all evil. Makes it simple. Just, you know, we know what our quest is. Just kill Golbez. Party time. Alright, so good to have Tellah back in the fray. And yeah, you might want to hold on to some the Gaia helmet or something. It's not a problem. It's really not. This is not difficult in the least. This area here. And yeah, Tellah has access to level 2 spells now, which will be very useful in fighting some revenants and ghouls once we get our transformation. And certainly tangling with Milon if he manages to catch up to us. Soul Ghoul Revenant. They probably hang out. Lifting some red bones. The Lilith animation very similar to some of the ones that we saw in Mystic Quest. It's just different because it's like the top-down versus just kind of a reorientation of the party in that game, where you're on the bottom of the screen and the enemies are on the top, versus the left and right. Here we are on the summit. Hiss, hiss. It's not me. And we have a spot where we can save. Another dicey spot if you toss and turn in your sleep. Just like Mount Hobs. I don't know why they feel the need to put these save fields right on the edges of these cliffs. Might as well save our game there, though. Not really in need of pitching a tent right now. But once you're ready, I feel something evil. There he is. Looks like that random water hag that attacked Edward, only he's wearing purple instead of blue. Meal time for my monsters. Alright, Milon and friends.
Boss beaters.
Milon comes with a full entourage of various zombies, so open this one up with fire spells, or Palom and Porom's powerful twin spell, which will typically land big fire damage by way of flare. Repeat this when it's just Milon to average over 600 damage per turn, while you supplement that damage with Cecil's roughly 200 he deals with physical attacks, and Tellah either casts fire or heal the twins to keep them chipping away at Milon's 3500 HP. Offensively, Milon isn't too much to handle. He's speedy, so he'll get a lot of level 1 lit spells off, but stay on top of your health and this one isn't bad. Oh, a word of advice. Immediately after this battle, rest in a tent and save your game as well as switching up the order. You'll see why in a minute.
Good call, Gary. Thank you. And the twins doing all the heavy lifting in this one. A little bit from that black sword as well. Might not need this. One more twin should take care of Mr. Milon. They're out of MP. One of them's out of MP. It's because I was doing those. Yeah, that was a mistake. Well, you're about to go anyway, right, Milon? Feel like you're teetering here. Yeah, better off saving those MP for the pair. When that twin ability is just doing so much more appreciable, more amount of damage. Yeah. 20 per. It's not worth it. Alright, one more stab. Cecily, you got this. There you go. Feels good? Doesn't feel good. Alright. Alright, so let's take that advice. Let's head back and pitch a tent back in the safe spot. Ice 2, look at you, and Piggy. Careful where you aim that. I had a bad experience back in town. Yeah, I made a mistake as a kid. Before I knew better. And crossed the bridge immediately after that battle. I was like, alright, took down Milon, let's keep moving, and then, uh-oh. So let's pitch that tent right here. And let's also follow that advice and change up the front and the back ranks. Not for you guys. Ooh. Do kind of want to use some flair on that party, though. Let's wait till we have our Paladin makeover. Here we go, Milon-Z. That's Milon after he's been wandering around his castle for a couple weeks at least. But now everyone's situated in just the right way, courtesy of Gary, so let's go back to him now for tips on this phase.
Boss beaters.
Now you can see why I recommend it changing the lines ahead of this battle. The strategy with Milon-Z is exactly the same, as he has the same weaknesses as before. Hit him hard with the twin ability, have Tellah act in a supporting role to keep everyone on their feet, and attack with Cecil. Instead of casting lit spells, Milon will now primarily do melee attacks, some of which might poison members of your party. Regardless, he's not difficult, especially if you rested right before this battle like I recommended.
Thank you very much, Gary. So 3,500 HP on Mr. Milon-Z, and they've got, what, 50 MP? So, yeah, Palom and Porom should be able to get us over the finish line with their twin moves. And then Cecil filling in the gaps just a little bit. Maybe only requiring 4 when all is said and done. The same animation kind of as the flare spell in Mystic Quest, actually. Same kind of sound, but yeah, a very satisfying animation when it's hitting the bosses. Miniature little lava pools right there. Lava circles. I like when Cecil gets poisoned, his skin kind of matches the color of his armor, actually. He's just all purple. Watch when he stabs here in a second. Down he goes. Yeah, that was easy. Simple as. It's that ending sound. Beep. 1,000 XP, not that good. Fire 2. Good on you, Palom. Certainly did. Unnecessarily. You really shouldn't have had 2 forms, Milon, but anyway. You got heal on you? You do not. I'm sure Tellah does. There you go. Cure. D-Knight. Read that as donut for a second. Let's become a paladin, so I don't make that mistake again. My son. Son? Who are you? Clearly your father, but this is a nice piece of music right here. Let's let this breathe. Been waiting, sorrow fills me, I shall entrust my power to you. Grieve that no other way remains. I mean, us becoming a paladin isn't the worst thing. Alright, here comes the makeover. Say goodbye to that look for us. Nice. Sweet new hairstyle, too. Part from your past, conquer the darkness within. Oh. Donut, Cecil. Gotta do this myself. Stand down. And when I say myself, I of course mean with a little help from Gary.
Boss beaters.
It's another one of those put down the controller and make yourself a snack boss battles, class. It's the way of the paladin. Just stand there and let some guy beat the snot out of you to truly succeed. Not to mention win this battle.
Ah, the way of the paladin. Thank you, Gary. Well, and we're right on schedule. Everything's going according to plan here. Guess that's that darkness ability, which I never had. Looks cool. Feel like we missed out a bit, but I like our new duds. Justice is not the only right in this world. Someday you will see. Go, Cecil. Rock that sweet new hairstyle. I like that. I like the color too. Put the spirit power in the last light left in me. My son, go. I like that kind of periwinkle against the tan or kind of bronze, goldish, yellowish of his cape right there. Pretty awesome. Go up to the mirror. Is there something there for us too? Now Tellah's gonna get those level 2 spells. Misspoke. Getting ahead of myself. All the spells he had forgotten. Bestowed upon me the greatest black magic. Nice. Alright, so think about that before you cut him off in traffic next time. Tell you the truth, let's get Golbez. After a bit of grinding, now that we're a paladin. My son. Alright. Change back the lines. See, a good opportunity now to get some levels in before we head out. Try to aim for maybe, if I speed this up a little bit too, try to aim for about level 15, I would say. More or less matching what we were as a Dark Knight. That should put us in pretty much a good spot to play the next very large, sizable, just synonyms for large, chunk of this game. Honestly, very, very little leveling is required. And then we've got tents. Tellah's got his level 2 fire spells, which works for most enemies around here. But look at that. Averaging close to 1,000 experience per win. And there it is. So satisfying. We just gained 5 levels, I think. We're already at level 6. 7, excuse me. 6 levels. It's pretty awesome. So we're already halfway to our goal, roughly. So yeah, let's speed this up. And see who wants to go. And you know what? In honor of Tellah recalling all of his spells now, let's go to Blaze for an overview of every single spell you can cast here in Final Fantasy IV. Blaze?
I thought I'd give a very brief rundown of all the white and black magic spells you can cast here in Final Fantasy IV, all in one place for quick reference. Most of these will be earned through leveling up throughout the game, and note that not all characters will be able to access all of these spells, mostly due to the fact that they won't be around late in the game. Anyway, let's begin with white spells, which are primarily used for support. These include Cure 1 through 4, which have fancy names in subsequent versions of the game like Cura, Curaga, and Curaja. These just restore varying levels of HP to one or multiple party members. Life or Raise, which brings back someone from the dead. And then there's Life 2, aka Arise, which brings them back with full health. Heal or Asuna, which cures most status effects. You got Slow or Fast / Haste, which slows a target or speeds up a party member's turn speed respectively. Confuse / Charm, which causes an enemy to attack random targets. Mute / Silence, which prevents an enemy from using magic. Size / Mini, which shrinks a target. Hold, which disables an enemy from doing anything. Blank, which increases a party member's evasion. Berserk, which forces a target to only attack, losing your control over a party member if you use it on them. Peep/Libra allows you to see an enemy or boss's HP and weaknesses when applicable. Float protects a party member or members from Earth-based attacks or dangerous terrain, relevant late in the game. Sight shows the map on the overworld. Exit allows you to escape most battles or exit a dungeon. And lastly, White, aka Holy, is the sole offensive white magic spell, which is powerful on a select number of enemies who, they have that weakness. But moving on now to the more fun spells, meaning the black magic spells. We have the 3 levels of each of the 3 elemental spells, meaning Fire 1, 2, and 3, aka Fire, Fyra, and Fyraga. We have Lit 1, 2, and 3, aka Thunder, Thundara, and Thundaga, and Ice 1, 2, and 3, aka Blizzard, Blizzara, and Blizzaga. There's Venom, aka Poison, which does poison damage to one target to reach their health slowly. And then the more powerful variety, which hits multiple targets, and Virus, aka Bio. Quake, which I mentioned a moment ago in regards to Float, does earth-based damage. Doesn't affect birds, any flying enemies, obviously. You have similar to the white magic size, we have Toad or Piggy, which inflicts or cures the Toad or Pig statuses. Warp, which takes you to the previous floor in a dungeon. Sleep, which puts susceptible enemies to sleep for a random number of turns. Stop, which disables an enemy for a few turns. And Psych, aka Osmos, which drains an enemy's MP and gives it to the caster. In a similar vein, we have Drain, which does the same thing but with HP. Weak, aka Tornado, which reduces susceptible enemies and maybe a boss later's HP to single digits. Stone/Break, which instantly kills an enemy who is susceptible to petrification. And Fatal, aka Death, does the same thing to enemies who are susceptible to death. No, there are some enemies who are somehow immune to death, by the way. Lastly, the 2 most expensive spells you won't get until very late in the game are Nuke, aka Flare, which does powerful non-elemental damage to a single target, and the Tellah special, the Meteo, aka Meteor, which does even more powerful non-elemental damage to multiple targets. Whew. But there you go, the spells of Final Fantasy IV.
Thank you, Blaze. Going through every single spell you can unlock here in Final Fantasy IV, typically through just good old-fashioned level grinding. Different characters unlock spells at different levels, but every now and then I guess you get like a Rydia overcoming her past trauma to learn the fire spell or remember it, or Tellah just banging his head or whatever happened. I don't know. I guess us becoming a paladin seemed to move him. You know what? Some of these tunes just seem to work at 10 times speed. Like listening to it for the first time, which is not the worst thing when you grind as much as you do in an RPG. So we're just about a level off for hitting our target of about 15 for Cecil. So while we're just finishing off and then returning to Mysidia, let's go to Fluff for a bit of a hack when it comes to duplicating weapons in this game, now that we're starting to get some better loot. Fluff, how about it?
There's a couple hacks which act as an easy way to duplicate anything which you can equip to a character to give you virtually unlimited instances of any weapon or shield. Let's say you just want one extra of your favorite sword or shield, maybe to share with another eligible party member. To create a single duplicate of any equipable item, go into battle and select the item command for the character who has the weapon you want to duplicate. Scroll down until you come to a blank space in your inventory and press A on that space to select it with the glove. Now scroll to the top and select the equipped item you want to duplicate, thus unequipping it. Next, exit out of the item command menu and run away from the battle with L and R. Once you're outside of the battle, tap X to bring up the menu. Select Equip and select the character with the weapon you just unequipped. Scroll down and select that weapon by tapping A on it. Then scroll up and re-equip it in that newly empty hand. Just like that, you'll now have 2 instances of that weapon or shield, regardless of what or how rare it is. Drop that weapon in an empty slot and re-equip it to leave the extra one in your inventory, which you can now give to another eligible party member, or just hawk it if you're hard up for cash. Now let's say you're aiming to become a small-time arms dealer, if you want a lot more of any given weapon? Well, to do this, it's a similar process, but you first need to both have 2 items equipped and have 2 adjacent empty slots in your inventory. Go into a battle once again and select the items of the person who has the weapon you want to duplicate en masse. Select the right of the 2 empty slots, then go up to the equip section and select a weapon or shield to swap it out. Now go to the other equipped weapon, select it, and go down. You'll now see that the first item you unequipped has shifted over to the left. Drop the item in that original right slot so that you're completely unequipped. Now exit out and run away. Now back on the map, go into the equip section of that party member to see a 5 next to their slot. Equip the item you want to duplicate there, then unequip it. You'll see the item has now disappeared in your inventory, but if you click again in that same seemingly empty spot, you'll now find that you can both equip it, and now scrolling down, you'll see a 5 next to some kind of character. This can vary depending on the version, but this denotes that you now have 255 of that item, which you can now spread around or sell to your heart's content. This is very useful for throwable weapons, which you can do with a certain character late in the game, but yeah, for what it's worth, there's one more method for duplicating weapons en masse, but that won't come until relatively late in the game, so I'll cover it then.
Thank you, Fluff. Yeah, it's especially useful later on in the game when we get a certain party member who has a certain skill. I know those who have played this before know exactly who I'm talking about, but just heading back to Mysidia now, and we will break for this first part of this 4-part Final Fantasy IV walkthrough. Up ahead here, and that we've become a Paladin, have some shopping to do once we get back to Mysidia, so we'll start off the next part doing that shopping and then rubbing it in the Elder space that we became a Paladin. You know he's gonna hate that. Buy Tellah some stuff and fill out the rest of, Cecil's armor. I like that they changed the background up depending on where you get into that battle, right here on the coast. Nice little detail they had going back to the first Final Fantasy. And the lake in the background with the mountains. It's a nice little touch. Walking on water there. I think we overshot Paladin. We went all the way up to Messiah. So we'll break here, and class, we will see you in part 2 of this Final Fantasy IV walkthrough here on Video Games 101. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment on this video, and click subscribe if you haven't already, as this seriously helps me to keep making great content for you.